Hi guys, thank you all very much for being here. I'm Sundus and I'm Palestinian, and I'm just going to speak to you guys for a bit. I literally cannot begin to wrap my head around the fact that a university institution, an institution that exists to educate and better the position of young adults, cannot even put out a statement saying that killing innocent civilians is not okay, that depriving innocent civilians of their basic human rights is not okay. A university institution is all about giving people an opportunity to have a better future. Yet this same institution cannot even make a simple mere statement regarding the loss of thousands of futures, many of which are young. I used to think that all students mattered, but now I realize they only care about us when we're contributing to the statistics of the success in the universities of the West. The thought process seems to be that as a Palestinian in Cardiff University, my rights supposedly matter, and if anyone makes me feel uncomfortable, that I have multiple avenues to speak up. Yet if I was studying in my country, Palestine, I could be blown up, my head could be hanging off, and my guts could be scrawled across the floor, and it wouldn't matter because that would supposedly be self-defense. Cardiff University, you can't pick and choose when your students matter depending on the location that they're in. I urge you all to keep using your voices and don't give up. This isn't a trend. This isn't something you speak on once or twice and then never again. You don't get to give up. Our people have been fighting for over 75 years. We've lost generation upon generation. Entire family names have been wiped out. Do you know what that means for an entire family name to be wiped out? The suffering of Palestinians has reached unimaginable depths. So do not think for 1 second that you get to give up from the comfort of your own home. We're so close. Failure is not an option. You only fail when you let your despair discourage you. And you don't get the luxury of failure. We've lost children in my family in this barbaric genocide. We don't have the footage of them dying, not even pictures of or the actual bodies of some of them. Some couldn't even have burials. But for every video and photo that is released, we see our family members in those people. After all Palestinians are family. And I would like to emphasize that although we are now asking for a ceasefire is not sufficient. It's the very first step. Do not stop talking and lose your voices once a ceasefire is achieved, or everything that you've worked for will go in vain. Palestine has been occupied for over 75 years. Palestinians have had their basic human rights stripped away from them, and this suffering expands way further than the 7th of October. The Western world loves to scream free speech and democracy till it no longer is their agenda. They look down on other countries, firmly believing that they exhibit true democracies and claim to be the land of the free. But the truth is, they are the most brainwashed and out of touch. Don't let them make you think that the UK is not involved. Because let me shine light on the fact that the UK is the very root cause of this problem. They essentially paved the frameworks for this through the Balfour Declaration. So don't be shocked at the UK government's unwavering support towards Israel. And remind yourself time and time again that this is not a Palestinian cause. This is a fight against injustice and oppression all around the world. We stand for Palestine, for Sudan, for Congo, for Syria, for Afghanistan, for Tigray, for all your Muslims, and for any group of people undergoing tyranny and oppression. Right now, we are in stormy conditions, but we are so close to the finish line. If we keep using our voices and applying pressure, the tide will change for the better. This is the start of a new world, a world which has no place for tyranny, no place for oppression and colonialism. Till my last dying breath, I will dedicate my life to speaking about my people. Because you can't be a nation that knows death is not the end. Thank you very much, guys.
We are all Palestinians. Palestinians. We are all Palestinians.
Okay, so the university are clearly knowledgeable that we're here because they have invited lots of security officers and police officers here. I wonder if it's for our safety or not. Anyway, the next speaker is Andy Burke, who is a senior officer at UCU.
Thanks very much. Comrades, on the 7th of October, 4 months ago, some awful things happened. I think we have all been very well informed about the details of it. It is heartbreaking to know good people were hurt in this way, including, I understand, many peace activists and opponents of the current Israeli government. In addition, those like me who don't identify as of Jewish heritage and therefore only look on from the outside can see that given the awful history of what was done to the Jewish people, these types of things hit home very hard to a community. And I think it is right that we can all see that and we can acknowledge it and be mindful of it on a day like this. What we currently need to address, however, is the ongoing and still ongoing war on Gaza and the widespread and utterly shocking complicity of the ruling classes, the capitalist class, in this war. The US and the UK have sent warships and aircraft not to protect the Palestinians, but to make it impossible for anyone to come to their help. Not only have there been actions on behalf of the governments, the Western governments, but we also need to address all those individuals and organizations who are happy to be bystanders to what is happening in Gaza. I am proud to say that UCU are not bystanders. As a trade union, it is in our DNA to be on the side of the oppressed, whether this be in the workplace or outside of it. And this is why we don't shy back from saying that this war has to stop, and it has to stop right now. And any support for it has to stop. Any bystanding by individuals or by, I'm sorry to say, universities who are only or mainly worried about their reputation or the potential loss of research contracts or partnerships, that all has to end, that kind of bystanding. The way things are going at the moment, bystanders have blood on their hands. As things stand at this moment, the International Criminal Court has confirmed that it is very plausible that we are currently witnessing nothing short of a genocide. I'm glad that they have seen what is there plain to see. And yes, there is an awful irony, and it isn't lost on us. And the irony is that the very people who are committing this alleged genocide are the descendants of people who had a genocide committed against them. It is a dreadful, awful irony, but it doesn't help to therefore say, it isn't happening, it can't be happening, therefore it isn't happening. Rather, what we need to say is, I'm sorry, but it is happening. It is dreadfully awful and it has to stop. More than 27,000 Gazans have been killed. Mostly, I think more than half have been children. Most of the others have been civilian men and women. And an unimaginable number on top of these have been maimed. All Gazans are hanging on at this time to bare life. People have limbs amputated without anesthetics, limbs that could have been saved had there been proper medical attention and proper medical supplies. But the wretched IDF are blockading medical supplies. Friends' mothers have cesarean sections without anesthetics. The basics of life are currently missing. Journalists have their children and their families not just killed, but targeted and killed. No wonder, therefore, that we do not hear anywhere near the full extent of the horrors that are currently unfolding in Gaza. Hospitals are invaded, universities are deliberately blown up. Well over 100 higher education staff, students, professors, lecturers, librarians and others have been killed. My friends, these are war crimes. To add to these unspeakable horrors, about which we could speak all afternoon if we could bear it, in addition to all this, reputable organizations like the Institute for Conservation and other academic bodies have issued reports detailing the destruction of Gaza's cultural heritage. Some of the world's oldest churches and mosques are in Gaza, and these have been destroyed or are damaged. Not only is the cultural history and the material culture of the Palestinian people being deliberately erased, it is all of our heritage what is being destroyed in Gaza. It is a crime under international law to do this, and shame on the Israeli state for making it happen. Shame on those who facilitated. It has to stop. And yet, as allies of the Palestinian cause, we are subject to repression and fear. Only this week, a professor at Bristol University was sacked for taking a stance against militant Zionism. He was sacked from his job, but at the beginning of this week, the Employment Tribunal found that his dismissal was entirely unfair. It's too late though. Things have happened, and so many of us are fearful of what will happen if we only speak the truth. Recently, 800 serving government officials across Europe and the USA have anonymously signed a statement. Why have they signed it anonymously? Because of the culture of fear and repression that makes people worry about saying anything and forces them to just be bystanders and let it all happen and not speak up and not challenge things. What has this statement of 800 serving government officials said? They said that their advice to their governments is being dismissed, and as a result, and I quote, "There is a plausible risk that our government policies are contributing to the grave violations of international law, are contributing to war crimes, are contributing to ethnic cleansing and even genocide." End quote. Can you imagine this? 800 serving senior government officials are saying this. They have to say it in honor. Right, it has to stop. In the name of humanity, it has to stop. That is why UTU, along with our sister unions, are calling for an immediate and permanent ceasefire. Let's all do the best we can to bring it about. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy, and thank you to UCU and the other two unions who have been calling for a ceasefire and encouraging all students and workers to take a day off for Palestine and Gaza. One logistical announcement: can everyone take about 4 steps forward so that passers can, people on the pavement can walk behind you, and you guys just seem like you don't want to be near us, so just come forward. The other announcement is more yummy, which is students are of course very talented in their studies, but also incredible bakers. So 3 students have been up all night baking freshly freshly made cakes for us. And if you would like one, please just wander over safely over here. They are taking donations for UNRWA. So that was the organization that was discredited and smeared by spurious claims by Israel, which meant that obviously the UK, the USA and several other countries stopped funding the kind of most established charitable organization in Gaza, which was the only lifeline. Those have obviously now been investigated and they were exaggerated. Anyway, so go and have cakes and donate to UNRWA, please. And we've got 2 more speakers that I know of, and if anyone else wants to say words, come and let us, one of us know. The next speaker will be Dylan from, was it University of South Wales? Where is he? Dylan, did I get the university name right? Yeah, USW. Yes, Dylan from USW.
Well, it's great to see everyone coming out in support of Palestine. Like I said, I'm Dylan from USW. The late and great Tony Cliff once said, "The power of workers is in the workplace." But I think it goes further than that. The power of students is on the campus. In protests like these, in walkouts, on going on demonstrations. To demonstrate is extremely important. It shows solidarity, it shows the people of Gaza that they don't stand alone. So I think we should all give a huge round of applause to ourselves for coming out and taking this time to demonstrate. I want to make another really important point. I think politicians, like in the Labour Party, are taking too soft a position. Just to call for ceasefire is not good enough. There should be, the ultimate form of ceasefire is one state for Palestine. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. I think from that response we can all agree. So can we get a chant going? From the river to the sea,
Palestine will be free!
from the river to the sea,
Palestine will be free!
free, free,
Palestine!
free, free,
Palestine!
from the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free!
Thank you so much.